Hello, I'm Wamboi Nyabera from MeDevice Kenya, introducing Afrivent ventilator. I am a medical device engineer with 15 years and more experience in the medical device industry. My teammates are Dr. Gitahi Mukira, who is a materials engineer, Douglas Omondi, who is an electronics engineer and is a founder of Lectrotel Microsystems, Peter Mbare, who is also an electronics engineer, founder of Blink Electrics that provides solutions for IoT. Nash Mutua is a mechatronics engineer at Gearbox Kenya. We came together to find solutions for COVID-19, and we stayed together to develop the next generation medical device solutions for Africa by Africans. We identified that there are insufficient ventilators in sub-Saharan Africa, and with the awareness brought about by COVID-19, we thought this was a good time to provide a fully featured ventilator that would help to reduce preventable deaths from respiratory diseases. A little bit of background on our development process. In April of 2020, we designed, built and demonstrated an ambibag solution. With clinical feedback, we found that we needed to go a little bit further, and we developed an electro-pneumatic ventilator concept. Between June and December of 2020, we fine-tuned that and came up with a fully featured ventilator in a custom-designed trolley. In all of that, our guiding standards were the KEBS local regulations and specifications. We also have been using the World Health Organization specifications as well as ISO regulations. Our design takes into account the gas pathway, has an electronics controller, and also has a custom designed enclosure. We have done extensive testing of the capability, and we have made significant progress towards meeting the KEBS requirements. Our tidal volume is between 200 and 800 milliliters. Our inspiratory flow is between 1 and 60 liters per minute. Our inspiratory pressure is between 15 and 40 centimeters of water. Our IE ratio, or inspiratory to expiratory ratio, is from 1 to 1 all the way to 1 to 4. Our respiration rate is 10 to 30 beats per minute, and we have a positive end expiratory pressure, or PEEP, of between 5 and 20 centimeters of water. We are able to have oxygen concentration between 21 and 100%. We're still working on our mixing capability. Our user interface is a graphic user interface touchscreen that enables us to input parameters as well as to monitor patients. Our key next steps include technical improvements to enable air and oxygen mixing, as well as redesigning the form factor to meet customer requirements. We are also going to start engaging with KEBS to start discussing testing, characterization, and certification. Looking at the competitive landscape, we find that there are many large device manufacturers such as Philips and Medtronic that have been making ventilators for many years, as well as many ventilators that have been developed in the past year or so in response to COVID-19. We have come up with innovations that will make us competitive in the space, including telemetry for remote access to enable us to reach remote areas as well as to train providers. We will provide access to electronic treatment data, both for public health monitoring and for our device preventive maintenance. Our oxygen and medical air data collection will allow healthcare facilities to trace and track how much oxygen and medical air they are using. In the future, we will implement a pulse oximeter for oxygen monitoring, as well as a continuous positive airway pressure device or mode on our device. In the next 2 years, we're going to be looking at the Eastern African market. Our target is 5,210 ventilators, which is 10% of the Eastern African market. However, the total market in sub-Saharan Africa is fairly large, and we will be able to scale. Assuming a revenue of $6,000 per ventilator for the 5,200 ventilators, we expect a 2-year revenue of $31 million and a profit of $9.4 million. To get to that, our immediate need for the validation phase to get to certification is $50,000. Thank you.
Now this is a prototype ventilator working at 1 mode, which is pressure controlled mandatory ventilation, and we have a test lung here that is actually emulating the lung, and there is inhalation, exhalation, and then there is the air that goes to the patient. It comes from the valves, so it comes from the 2 cylinders, so there is medical air and oxygen. So right now we can see on the graph there is the lung pressure, and then there is the volume graph. We can change the parameters. Right now it's working at about 300 milliliters P per 5 centimeters H2O, I ratio of 3:1, and breaths per minute of 12. So when you go to the settings, here you can change the different modes. It's a constant mandatory ventilation, pressure control. You can go to volume assist. The other modes are we're still working on them. So when you go to configuration mode, so you have various parameters that you can now change according to the patient's breathing parameters. So there's a breath cycle. Can change the I ratio. Can go up or down, 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 1 to 1. Now the tidal volume, which is anything from about 100 to 800 milliliters. And then we have the maximum lung pressure that is required. So can be set from anything from 0 to up to probably 35 or 40. Oops. So that's a glitch.
Okay, no problem.
That, yeah. Then there's the PEEP, which can go to 5 or 10 or 15, maximum of 15. Yeah, so then the settings are saved. Press save, then go back. So the settings will have taken effect, and the breathing parameters will have now changed.
Okay, thank you.